Okay, at 6 o'clock, I'm calling this meeting to order, and I'm going to ask Councilman Stauffer if he would lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge, so if you'll all rise.
All right, let's pray. Lord, we do thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for another day to serve the citizenry of Niceville. We thank you for the greatest city, Lord, that I've ever lived in. Thank you for the county that we live in, the state we live in, and the country we live in. Thank you for the opportunity to have another day here. I just pray for this particular meeting, Lord, that those that will come before the council will do it in a way that is respectful of everybody that's here, that they will always look to thee for the type of guidance to say the right things and act the right way. Lord, just pray for each and every one of us, Lord, that we on the council, mayor, city manager will do the right thing, and Lord, we'll make decisions that not only glorify thee, but are best for this city. And Lord, we pray all this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take your seats. Attendance, so I'm going to call the roll and just answer with a here. So, Mr. Najumian.
Here.
Mr. Schatzel.
Here.
Miss Alley.
Here.
Mr. Donahue is out tonight. Called me from Montreal, Canada to let me know he wouldn't be here. And Mr. Stauffer.
Here.
Let the record reflect that the mayor, the council, with the exception of Mr. Donahue, are here. Looking at our agenda items, I do believe we have one item to add to the agenda tonight. There may be others. Are there any deletions? If not, the agenda item that we need is to appoint members to the Citizens Advisory Task Force. So let the record reflect that we will bring in that issue up. Are there any deletions? None? All right.
Mayor, before you proceed, I just recommend that the council vote on the addition.
Absolutely. Good call. In favor of adding that to the agenda, I'm going to go for a roll call vote. Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Stauffer?
Yes.
All right. We see there the consent agenda. The items listed there: approval of minutes from December 10th, 2024. We have a planning commission minutes and bills payable. Any objections to the consent agenda? All right. Do we need to vote on that? Okay. So with that said, then we'll bring that before the council. I'll start with Mr. Stauffer. How do you vote?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right. Let's move down to the awards, proclamations, and presentations. Wendy, you driving, or is the city manager driving?
It's me.
All right.
Good evening. The first one is the Youth Advisory Council update.
Who's the lucky speaker tonight?
We have two.
Oh man, we hit the jackpot.
Tag team tonight.
Please go ahead and state your name for the record so that we know who we're dealing with.
Good evening, I'm Kyla Rose Menson, and this is Andrew Conrad. So today we'd like to talk about some of the projects that we've done recently. So this holiday season, we were able to decorate Christmas stores at the Bob Hope Enlistment Village for over 30 residents. And in addition, we were able to interact with all the senior care home members and being able to play a bigger part in our community. As well as a few weeks later, we also made holiday cards, and we made almost 50 cards for the Twin Cities Pavilion, and we also dropped those off as well. So that was a really great thing that we did for this Christmas holiday season, and we were really great to play a big part in our community. And Andrew will now talk about what our upcoming plans are.
So we have a lot of upcoming plans. Alright, so the most recent, I guess, next coming up event is the League of Cities Action Days. That's in Tallahassee, where we meet up with other youth advisory councils from across the state, and we collaborate on a mock project. So in the past, that project has been anywhere from designing a skate park to just kind of learning how to debate with each other. Our next big project coming up is we volunteer and help out with the Autism Center's annual fun run, 5K. And yeah, we go out there, we help along the track, volunteer afterwards, and help make that a fun day for the kids and parents alike.
And you mentioned the date probably, and I missed it, but what is the date for that 5K and event?
April 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Was that April 5th?
April
April
5th, yes, up at the college.
So, you got anything else you want to report on right this moment?
Everything's running really smooth, and we love coming out here.
Awesome. Well, you know, you got a great advisor, and he's done a tremendous job. I hate to see that he's down to his last 3 council meetings. So, Mr. Najumian, thank you for all you do with our council. It is awesome, and you can see it's reflected in how busy they are and what they do. With that, I will open up to the council. Does anybody have any questions for our youth council? Well, thank you for a job well done, and thank you for taking care of people within our city and making sure that they aren't forgotten. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, next up is a presentation by Najisa, is that right? Niceville High School regarding a recent trip to Japan to attend the World Congress of Marine Stations.
This slideshow too?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. So what happens next? Who starts?
I'll start.
Okay, good.
So we're representatives of the Northwest Florida Navisa branch, and this is our annual report of our time in Japan at the World Congress of Marine Stations. To begin, I'm going to be giving a brief gifted overview of the gifted program at Niceville High School. So to begin, we have our gifted class. Currently there's 99 students from freshman to senior in the gifted class, and every aspect that we do in this class revolves around 4 pillars of gifted, which are research, presentations, teamwork, and problem solving. These 4 pillars can not only be applied to the gifted class, but to other classes in Niceville High School, as well as the students' college life and career life. So to begin, when students first come to the gifted class, they start in our freshman class, and this is their first introduction. The first project is the All About Me project. This is their first time standing up in front of their peers, giving a presentation, so sometimes it can be a bit nerve-wracking for them. Would you like to use that?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure everybody else can hear you, so we'll go ahead and use the mic. And it works best when you keep it up close to your lips.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward, we also have our architecture project. This is a team project where they get assigned a type of architecture and they have to build a model. You can see an example here. Another notable project that the freshman class is a part of is film analysis. This is what our freshmen are currently doing right now. This is where they analyze video and audio qualities of movies such as Jurassic Park and 12 Angry Men, as well as multiple other movies every year. Another notable project is the 30-second commercial. This is where they'll get into teams and film their first video project, which is a commercial, and they'll present it to the class. Moving forward into their sophomore and junior years, this is where we see much more advanced projects, which have longer presentations as well as longer papers and require much more effort put into these projects. A good example of this is the game. Currently, our sophomores designed a board game for our freshmen, but it's much more complex than it sounds. The board game takes up a whole wall in our classroom, and the freshmen play the game for a few weeks, and it's strategy-based, not based on luck. Another notable project for our junior class is the engineering project. Some of you may have heard this before. This year's was to fix Crestviews traffic problem. Last year's was to redesign Niceville High School, and the year before that was to make Okaloosa County green, meaning no carbon emissions. Another project is the finance project, where students get to plan out basically the rest of their lives, including college, emergency funds, what they want to be for their career, and how to deal with taxes and funds and aspects like that. This is a typical example of the gifted project progression that our students will do. A good example is from the 30-second commercial, their freshman year, to the 10-minute documentary project, their sophomore year, and to the 30 to 40-minute movie project, their junior year. You can also see that in other projects as well. Another notable thing is our literature that we read. We currently have 3 books that we read, 1 per year: Ender's Game, Starship Troopers, and Mr. Midshipman Hornblower, which can also be applied to other English classes, the skills we learn, as well as memory retention and learning things such as like technical jargon. And then finally, their senior year, we have our senior externship. This is where most students go and intern with local professionals in our community. Usually we have students that intern with doctors, engineers, lawyers. Usually these are careers that have a master's degree as well. I personally did mine at a private dentist office as well as the Air Force Research Lab, learning Python applications and research, and that inspired me to become a computer programmer in college and pursue computer science. So this is where students can really see if they're interested in certain career topics or what they want to major in college, and kind of live out the day in a life in these careers. Another notable thing about the Gifted program is our marine study that we are part of called Nagisa.
Our program, Nagisa, or the Natural Geography of Inshore Areas, is a global marine biodiversity study. It was founded in 2000 by Dr. Yoshihisa Shirayama of Kyoto University. In 2003, Mr. Richard Hernandez, the teacher of the gifted students at Niceville High School, was invited to Japan with the Fulbright Memorial Fund Master Teacher Program, which establishes a relationship between schools in Japan and their counterparts in the United States. While in Japan, he was requested to start a branch of Nagisa at Niceville High School. As Hannah just mentioned, our Nagisa program fits into our gifted program. So gifted students are involved in the gifted program, they register for it, and they're in the class year-round. And then twice a year, we have our Nagisa collections. Since our founding in 2003, we've been on 13 international trips, going to Japan, Tanzania, Crete, Egypt, Turkey, Costa Rica, Portugal, and England. However, there are 3 standout trips that I'd like to go a little bit more in depth in. Our first standout trip was in 2006 to Kobe, Japan, where we participated in the first Nagisa World Conference. Based on our presentation there, we were requested to start an international science outreach program, which allowed us to go to Kizimkazi, Tanzania in 2007, where we participated in collection and analysis with the local Tanzania high school, which allowed our students, as well as their students, to gain more knowledge about science and culture. Every 2 years since 2017, a group of our students goes to Plymouth, England to work with the Marine Biological Association, or the MBA. We do collection and analysis with them, which allows us to practice different protocols as well as work with an esteemed international science organization. So now getting into our protocols. When we were established in 2003, we created our own protocol based off of the previous Nagisa protocols, the Sandy Beach Protocol. This calls for biennial collections of our ecosystems with both the dive and the beach components. Starting with our beach components, students will lay out these materials and they will collect sand samples, which is pictured in the left diagram, and then they will go back the next day in our labs at our school and they will do a simple filtration process to analyze these samples. The cool part about our program, though, is the dive components, which does the same components as our beach program, except under the water and modified a little bit to fit being under the water, as pictured in our left picture, and then the analysis is in the right. But the special part is our arms units, or our autonomous reef monitoring structures. We collect these annually in our fall, and the picture on the left is a picture of one of our plates of our arms units. And then the top picture is us collecting our arms units, and our bottom picture is all of our organisms that we keep after we dissect our arms units. We can keep aerators in them to keep them alive, and then we will then release them back into the ocean. We also have specialties. We have 6 different specialties with our Nagisa program, which students will participate in on the analysis day, which allows them to go deeper into an area that they're interested in. Our specialties are water analysis, specimen photography, DNA barcoding, specimen preservation, and scope and microplastics.
For our Japan trip spanned 10 days, from November 21st to December 1st. While we were there, we stayed in Tokyo a total of 3 days and visited a few historical sites, like the Sensoji Temple and the Meiji Jingu Shrine, as you can see here. Both of these have very long-standing and important ties to Japan's traditional religions of Shintoism and Buddhism, so it was very fun and interesting to see, as well as cultural and informative. We also visited Ueno Zoological Gardens, where unfortunately we did not get to see any pandas, but we did get to see other interesting animals like tigers and sea lions.
We visited Tokyo Tower and Tokyo Skytree, two of Japan's most iconic landmarks, and Shibuya, one of their biggest entertainment districts. As for the actual important part, our program was invited to attend the Second World Congress of Marine Stations held in Shizuoka, Japan, which is about a 2.5-hour bullet train ride outside of Tokyo. The conference was held in the Grand Ship Convention Hall, as you can see here, and spanned 3 days. The first day was very laid back, as it was mostly meant for just mingling, socializing, and building friendly relationships between the marine stations. It was also an opportunity for the members of the World Association of Marine Stations, or WAMS, to place names to faces, as their operations have been largely virtual, so they haven't had an opportunity to meet each other in person, as it's very hard to get a lot of busy people together. The second day was when the action really started, as there were 3 sessions and the poster session. The first session was just sort of an opening address, as well as an overview of WAMS and how they operated. They talked about what their goals were, how they wanted all the marine stations to collaborate, how they accomplished it, and stuff like that. And then the second and third sessions were very similar, as each of them had 6 presenters go up and present their marine stations, where they would talk about any individual research projects, their outreach and education programs, as like how they would connect with their community, and any future goals they would have in terms of fostering international collaboration. The poster session was split into 2 parts, the flash talk and the actual poster session. The flash talk was just a brief 2-minute introduction to like the posters to rouse interest, while the actual poster session was about an hour and a half where everyone could roam around the convention hall, ask questions about the posters, or just socialize. Nagisa had 2 poster teams, each with 2 people. One of our posters was more research-based, as it analyzed the 20 years worth of data we'd collected, and the other one was more focused on how it could foster outreach and what it could do for the international scene. The third day was very similar to the second, albeit a lot shorter, as there was only an opening address and the 4th session, where 6 teams of presenters would go up, including our Nagisa team, and then had a plenary discussion. So the plenary discussion was sort of a Socratic, open table discussion where the WAMS board would come up with a series of questions, and then each of these presenters would discuss it and brainstorm their thoughts about it. These questions were mostly meant to tackle the problems of international collaboration, such as like how far away each of the marine stations were, things like that. And then the next day, we were invited to Shimoda Marine Research Station, where the original plan was for us to go tour and collect plankton in the ocean, but the weather made that impossible. So instead, we just toured the facility and practiced their equipment. So here's a group photo of everyone who attended the conference. We're scattered here in the corner, and then these are photos of our posters and our presentation teams. This is our research poster, this is our presentation team presenting, and then this was our outreach poster team giving their flash talk.
So I'd love to talk a little bit more about what were the outcomes of the trip, what we learned, and what we contributed to the Congress. So most importantly was Nagisa reestablishing our international presence. As you heard previously, we have gone on lots of international trips. However, we have not appeared at an international scientific conference since 2010. So this was a great opportunity for us to get back on the international scientific stage and reintroduce ourselves as a scientific outreach presence. Also important was sharing our mission. Our presentation was titled Nagisa as a Blueprint for Science Outreach, and it aimed to share the mission of science outreach from the people that benefit from it, to inspire other marine stations to kind of take up the mantle of participating in this vital outreach and inspiring more young students to pursue careers in STEM and marine science. Another important thing we did was establish a collaboration with the World Associated Marine Stations to update their World Atlas of Marine Stations. So as you can see here, they maintain an atlas or a directory of every marine station in the world. Currently, they only have location and the link to the website on the website. However, they want to add more information, like what kind of research facilities are available, what kind of research each station does. However, they have not had the manpower for that data research and entry. However, we do. So when we saw this need, we offered to fill it by using our gifted students to perform the data research and data entry in order to update this website with lots of information about each marine station and what kind of facilities they have available. So that is currently ongoing, and we're hoping that we can contribute to them in the near future. So continuing with Negisa, we hope to attend the next World Congress of Marine Stations. There was lots of talk at this conference about the next play export and where it's going to be, so you might see us in either Canada or Singapore in the coming years, so we do hope to attend that. And of course, we continue to try to grow our program and expand our mission of impactful science outreach to more and more students every year. We'd like to thank these organizations who provided us with in-kind and monetary donations throughout the trip. And most importantly, we'd like to thank the Niceville community for all the monetary and just community support that they gave us throughout the trip. We really could not have done it without the support of organizations like the City Council and city members like you all. Thank you so much for your time today. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
I have one question, but I have a couple comments first. I'm just going to, I don't know where to begin. You four are incredibly impressive. That presentation that you just provided us is as good a presentation as I've seen from people 20 years your senior. The amount of effort, the polished professional nature of that, Mr. Hernandez, I know you've been doing this for many, many, many years. I've seen a lot of your kids come and go. They are the doctors and the lawyers and the scientists that are all out there right now. And that's a true tribute to you and the school that allows you to do that. I'm a proud parent of two of them who came through that are out there now. They weren't 1/10 as good as the four of you are right now, as you talk to me. And I'll call them later tonight and tell them they got a lot of work to do. Because you guys really, you give us hope that your generation is going to be able to do the things that we worry about today. There's a dearth of youth that's interested in STEM. And to see four young ladies like yourselves stepping up here today to talk about this stuff gives me personally, I won't speak for anybody else, but just great hope that we're going to be in really good hands. So thank you all very much.
Thank you for your compliment.
Mr. Najunian, did you have a question?
Oh, and I had a question. What's the solution to the Crestview traffic problem? I want to know what that report said.
So we have copies of our paper.
Yes, I want to read this.
So I'm currently
This
in
is
the
the
junior
solution to
class.
Crestview.
So that's one of the projects that we did. That was the first project we were assigned on the very first day of school. We get a paper that Mr. Hernandez gives us, and we have about a month to do the project.
Thank you.
So that's the consolidated group. We are put into 5 groups, all 5 people. And then at the end, once everyone's presented and we've gotten back our grades for our papers, we create that as a class. So it's a very complicated plan because every solution you would find a problem. So I think there's a 4-phase plan. It's all detailed in there.
I'll be reading this this week.
If you found a solution in 30 days, you're going to put some people up there out of business.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for reminding me of my question.
Yes.
Yeah, we produce a paper like that every year, depending on the engineering problem. Every year it's different. And every year the paper we create is kind of a unique solution to that problem. It's certainly not perfect, but it is a testament to kind of research gifted students do. I can almost guarantee that most of them had never heard of what a slip lane was when they first entered that class on the first day of school, and now they are all slip lane experts. So, yeah, students really get exposed to a new field and do really in-depth research to create a solution like that.
Well, I run an engineering firm and I'm hiring, so I'll talk to all 4 of you later.
Just for the audience out there, there's a massive amount of work that goes into something like this. I just looked to see how many pages, 76 pages. And, you know, it's pretty impressive. Like I said, I echo what Mr. Najumian said, and thank you for what you do. I have one question for you. How many marine stations are there?
As many dots are there on that map. So, I don't,
More than 10.
over 80? So over 800, sorry, that number.
Wow.
But yeah, I think you can most accurately see it with the visual of all the dots of those are marine stations all around the world. As you can see, they run into the kind of obscure corners of Canada, up to the obscure corners of Russia. So yeah, all over the world.
Thank you. Yes, you can.
So I'm so impressed
Get in the mic.
with you. I feel very stupid after listening to you guys, and I'm very much encouraged as well. And as you can see, I'm the only woman up here on the city council, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you will choose to go into advocacy. and get into this realm of world as well, because we need many more women to do that as well. But bravo, what a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I do have something too.
Go ahead.
I just want to say ditto to all that's been said, and just an amazing, a lot of hope. I mean, I know Mr. Jumian said that. I was sitting up here just amazed, and I wasn't gifted, so I'm going to ask a non-gifted question. I hope it's not a trick question. You said you interned in an externship, so I have never heard of an externship. Is it different from an internship?
Not particularly. The name is more of a function of students go out of the school, they exit the school to go and intern with someone else. So the official course name is the externship, and that's how we colloquially refer to it. But in function, it's not
It's an
particularly
internship.
different.
Okay, I just wanted to learn something. I knew you could teach me.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And again, great presentation. Mr. Hernandez, thanks for all you do, man. Okay, I think we will move down to our public hearings. And with that, Wendy, are you ready to go? What's that? Yeah, let's do that now. That's a good point. Sorry, I misspoke a little bit here. We're going to, since we added it to the agenda, we're going to take care of that right now. So we're going to talk about appointing members to the Citizens Advisory Task Force. I believe Dennis Dingman is here, and he wants to talk to it initially, and then we'll move on from there. Dennis, thank you very much for being here, and don't forget to speak directly into the mic there so everybody can hear you. You got some good things to say.
Thank you very much. Dennis Dingman, Summit Professional Services. As you know, we've just completed, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We've just completed the last CDBG grant cycle, and we spoke to the agency about when a new cycle would come about, and they mentioned that they think it's going to be early summer. So we asked them a little bit about, well, what kind of money is coming down? And as it turns out, $7 million from the last cycle was not spent. So they're going to roll it into this year's cycle, which means instead of 24, 25 million, it's going to be, what's 25 and 7? 32 million.
You gotta be careful about math in public.
And that's it. I spoke to David, and I think it's a good time to, for the Niceville to think about perhaps going after another grant. As a part of that, the CATF is a volunteer committee of citizens who will make a recommendation to the council about whether or not to move forward with a grant, and that's done prior to having a first public hearing. So I called volunteers up from the city, and we have 5 volunteers, but they do have to be appointed to the Citizen Advisory Task Force. We will have 1 meeting prior to the first public hearing, and you have a list in front of you of those people. If you'd like me to read them, I will. It's Sheila Marie Commander, Michael Orphan, Betty Williams, Irene Petit, and Ellen McCormick. These are citizens who have all been participants in the program in the past, so they understand the program, they do qualify, and like I said, they are volunteers. And so,
So do you need a motion then?
We do need a motion, and we provided a motion below if you'd like that.
Do I have one of the council members willing to make a motion?
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Dennis, thank you for all that you've done for this program. Could you just repeat the listing of 5 individuals? Are they former recipients of the grant, or are they citizens of our community and former citizens,
They're all
recipients?
former recipients and all citizens, all residents of Niceville.
Okay, thank you. That's the way I thought you heard. Okay, I'll make a motion then that we accept the listing of 5 individuals for the City of Niceville Citizens Advisory Task Force for the for Dennis Dingman and his Summit Professional Services.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, discussion by the council.
Do we need to read the names of these individuals?
He did. He did previously. So again, just for the record, it's Sheila Marie Commander, Michael Worthen, Betty Williams, Irene Petit, and Alan McCormick.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion by the council?
Did we get the second?
We did.
Did.
Doug Stopper.
Just a quick question, is this an annual appointment? Is it a single year?
It's, you can reappoint them each time we do a grant.
So it's for this grant cycle?
Or it's for this grant cycle.
Okay.
I do have a question. So,
Read into your mic, please.
it says the city's FFY 2024, is that correct, 2024, not 2025?
2024, yes.
Any other questions, discussion? Mr. Najumi, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Stoffler?
Yes.
All right.
Thank
You
you
have
very
your
much.
task force.
Thank you.
Council, I just want to recognize Mr. Digman and his wife. They've been serving this community since 2008 using the CDBG grant. Since 2008, they have been able to obtain $3.5 million for our community and either tore down and completely rebuilt or gutted and remodeled 46 homes for Niceville residents. So this man is a dedicated servant, has been for a long time, him and his wife. So I just want to recognize him for his years and years of hard work.
Thank you again, Dennis.
I might say, once had hair, you can relate.
Okay. All right, Wendy, are we down to public hearings? All right.
Okay, these public hearings are on the first reading. Tidwell rezoning ordinance number 250105. This is a rezoning application submitted by John Tidwell requesting an amendment of the official zoning map found within the Land Development Code to change the zoning district from a property from multifamily R3 to planned unit development PUD, and to change the future land use map found within the comprehensive plan from the medium density residential category to the mixed use category. This property is approximately 0.27 plus or minus acres and is located just north of Mason Street at 205 Marquette Avenue and is identified by parcel ID numbers 12-1S-23-0000-0045-0000.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
And second by Mr. Schatzel. Discussion, we need, you want to have somebody come up? Is anybody here to represent that? Is Mr. Tidwell here? Okay. Anybody representing Mr. Tidwell? Discussion by the council.
Mayor, I have just one question, and if this is approval tonight, this is for the rezoning, but Mr. Tidwell will have to still go through the process of getting these homes sold, so that he will have to bring it before the planning commission again he needs variances for the lots and everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, so say, let's have Kirsten give us can you come up and give us a little backstory? Because this went before planning twice, right?
Was it denied the first time?
It was denied and then approved it.
No, yes, sir, it was, but they recommended that it come back as a PUD, and that was part of the planning commission's motion. He originally did not want to do the PUD and had requested R3 because the PUD is a greater barrier, in terms of what you have to submit. So he did that, he came back with a PUD, and the planning commission recommended approval. And Councilman Schatzel is right, he will have to come back through the development order process, because now he essentially, he's gonna have plat. It's an existing apartment building. He's not proposing any development, but he wants to sell the individual units and the land underneath those, and so he needs to subdivide the property.
Oh, so the intent is to keep the property as constructed, but change it from a rental to a sale status?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Okay.
Any other questions for Kristen? All right. Mr. Najumian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Stopper?
Yes.
All right, let's move down to the next item, long variance.
Long variance, public hearing withdrawn by applicant. This is, it was withdrawn.
Okay. All right, that's been withdrawn by the applicant. All right, let's move down to the public hearings, second and final readings.
Rungy rezoning, ordinance number 24-12-01, it's on the final reading. This is a rezoning application submitted by Lisa Rung, requesting an amendment of the official zoning map found within the Land Development Code to change the zoning district from for a property from single-family residential R1 to multifamily residential R3, and to change the future land use map found within the comprehensive plan from the low-density residential category to the medium-density residential category. This property is approximately 0.17 plus or minus acres and is located just south of Bat Street at 414 North Cedar Avenue, and is identified by parcel ID numbers 06-1S-22-1590-0008-0240.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Stopper. Do we have somebody here that needs to address this one? Is Ms. Rung here?
No, she's not.
Okay. Kristen, you want to speak to this? You have any issues there?
No, sir.
No, not required, okay.
We're on second reading.
Yeah, any questions or comments? All right, Mr. Stopper, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
Let's move down to Rocky Runway Commons.
Ordinance number 25-01-04, an ordinance annexing to the city of Niceville, Florida, contiguous lands described as set forth herein, providing for property and for proper advertisement pursuant to 17-044 of the Florida statute, providing that the property will be zoned outdoor recreation and have a future land use map designation of parks and recreation, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for modifications, providing for codification, and filing with the clerk of court, Okaloosa County, and the Department of State. The proposed annexation is located at 998 Rocky Bayou Drive and can be identified as parcel ID number 10-1S-2832-OBCC-Park.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Alley. Any questions or comments from the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Stopper?
Yes.
Let's move down to next item on the agenda.
This is an annexation correction, ordinance number 25-01-06, revising ordinance 24-06-05. This is on final reading. A corrective amendment to ordinance number 24-06-05, annexing to the city of Niceville, Florida, contiguous lands described as set forth herein, providing for proper advertisement pursuant to Florida statute 171-044, providing that the property will be zoned PUD, planned unit development, and have a future land use map designation of MDR, medium density residential, providing for severability and conflicts, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for modifications, providing for codification and filing with the city clerk, Okaloosa County, and the Department of State. The proposed annexation is located near Hudson Boyd Circle and can be identified as parcel numbers 08-1S-22-0000-0025-0010 and 08-1S-22-0000-0025-0020.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
And second by Ms. Alley. Discussion by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Mr. Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right, let's move down to the budget amendment.
Budget amendment for the City Hall roof repairs ordinance.
Opioid settlement.
The opioid settlement.
Budget amendment opioid settlement fund, ordinance 25-01-02 on final reading. An ordinance adopting the amended final budget changes for the city of Niceville for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024. An ordinance adopting and approving the appropriation set forth in said budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Schatzel. Discussion by the council? Would anybody else like to come before the council on this issue?
Yes.
Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. And please speak into the mic.
Yes, sir. Larry Downs Jr. and from Pensacola, Florida. My address is 12156 Hadberg Drive, west side of Pensacola. I go to a couple meetings around. I went to Dixie County back in November, and you know, and I see some of these things coming forward, these opioid settlements, which you know come from the pharmaceutical, the legal drug pushers, you know, of our country, and I find it interesting. I'm going to talk in the public forum about the you know, about the corporate chemical injections called vaccines. So I'll talk about that during the public forum because I just want y'all to be aware. A lot of people aren't aware that these pharmaceutical corporations and the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, the NIAID, they're all captured. They're poisoning us. They're poisoning our children. Just like with these opioids. They had a strong incentive to do this. That's the reason why we're having these settlements now. I expect something similar in the next 10 or 20 years over these, not only the COVID vaccines, but other vaccines. And I'll read y'all the safety data insert sheets, but I just want y'all to realize what these opioid settlements are. These are evil corporations owned by world global conglomerates. You know, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, Blackstone. They own these corporations called pharmaceutical corporations, Pfizer, Moderna, Lilly, Merck, GlaxoSmithKline, just, I mean, you just think Johnson & Johnson, Janssen.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just want y'all to really understand this ain't just, you know, free money. It comes from corporations poisoning us.
I appreciate your input, and let me just give you a heads up. You are welcome to speak when we go to open forum, but just a caution to you, you get 3 minutes, so if you got something that you want to focus on, you mentioned something about reading inserts, etc., condense everything down, because I'm going to cut you off for 3 minutes.
I'm a professional.
All right, good deal.
You got it.
All right. Anybody else want to come before the audience on this one? Or council on this one, I mean? All right, Mr. Najumian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Let's move down to the budget amendment, City Hall roof repairs.
Ordinance 25-0103. An ordinance adopting the amended final budget changes for the city of Niceville for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024. An ordinance adopting and approving the appropriations set forth in said budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2024, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved, and do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Najumian. Discussion by the council. Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Mr. Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
Let's move down to public camping ordinance.
Ordinance number 25-01-01, final reading. An ordinance of the city of Niceville, Florida, creating and amending the following section of the Code of Ordinances of the city of Niceville, creating section 17-4 of chapter 17 titled Prohibition of Public Camping or Sleeping Within City Buildings or its grounds, creating section 17-5 of the chapter 17 titled Prohibition of Public Camping or Sleeping on City Streets, Sidewalks, Right-of-Way, Park, and other public ways, amending section 13-10, chapter 13, eliminating public camping, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for confiscation, and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schatzel and second by Mr. Soffer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Discussion by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to come before the council on this issue?
I have one question. I apologize. I
Go ahead.
read this a while ago, and I'd rather ask than go through all 4 pages. Do we have something in here that states in the event of an emergency like hurricane that we could use our facilities to house people? I don't remember if that was in there.
No, sir, that's not part of the statute, and nor the focus or the intent of the statute.
Right, I know
or
this
the or our ordinance.
But the language is pretty clear saying, under no circumstances shall you stay in here in our facilities, but there might be circumstances where the city does use its facilities for some type of emergency situation. So is that addressed elsewhere in our documents?
Oh, no, well, no, sir, it's not, but I would suggest to you that that's not public camping as intended by the statute. Those are emergency situations for the protection of our residents, and doesn't really address the issue at hand here.
Okay. So by the virtue of the fact that it's a section entitled Prohibition of Public Camping or Sleeping Within City Buildings or Grounds, there could be instances where that can be allowed.
Under that circumstance, sir, absolutely. But again, the statute doesn't address that situation because, again, I don't think the statute or the legislature deems that situation public camping.
Because I think we pretty much just lifted this directly off of...
It's plagiarized.
Right, somebody else, if I recall.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Straight out of the statute.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Najumi, any other questions?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Mr. Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Mr. Najumi?
Yes.
All right, let's move down to the city manager's reports.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First off, since this is the first meeting of 2025, I want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I know we're 2 weeks into the year, but Happy New Year to everybody. It's going to be a great 2025 here in Niceville. You're going to see a lot of capital projects launching off, whether it's the pier, Meggs Park, the reuse water line. Hopefully we can get moving on a lot of other projects as well. The county's going to be building multi-use trail down College and Forest. We're going to be building sidewalks and multi-use trails all over town. So my team and I are really, really excited about what 2025 has in store for us. One of the big projects we're going to launch off on to is the design and engineering of a fire department on the east side of town over in the Deer Moss Creek neighborhood. Phil Schultz, our grants administrator, fought real hard and went out, and along with Kay Rasmussen from 1EDC, and was able to get a $400,000 grant from the state. So that we will use that money for the design and engineering of that fire station, that brand new Cat 5 rated fire station that we're going to put out on the east side of town. The only other thing I would note for everybody is we will have our first town hall of 2025. The mayor and I will on January 27th at 7 a.m. and on January 28th at 6 p.m. So if you want to hear what's going on in the city and have the opportunity to talk to the mayor and I directly and ask questions and get information straight from the horse's mouth, I encourage you and invite you to come out. It's right here in this facility on the other side of the wall behind you. Again, 27 January at 7 a.m. and 28 January at 6 p.m. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Mr. Mayor, Council. I've got the statistics for December 2024, last month of the year. The Niceville Police Department responded to 2,082 calls for police service. little bit of the breakdown is 52 traffic crashes. We issued 180 citations, 176 traffic warnings. We made 20 misdemeanor arrests, 10 felony arrests, and 2 DUI arrests. On December 31st, we took part in the DUI campaign where we kind of wolf-packed out some officers to do some extra enforcement. During that 12 hours, they did a total of 46 stops, issued 15 citations, 4 criminal citations, and 42 warnings and 1 DUI. Some of the December activities that we had to finish up the year, we did finish our lobby, thanks to Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Send Philip over. Stop by and see it. It's very nice, very updated. We helped send off the football team to the state finals. We conducted Cocoa with a Cop. Santa Claus happened to be there. We had assistance with the Christmas parade. We are doing High Five Thursdays at different schools every year where we go out and kind of just interact with the kids when they get to school. Obviously, we help with Christmas in the complex. We had officers from our honor guard joined other agencies and assisted with reefs across America. The officers had an in-depth training on active shooter, school shooting scenarios. We delivered food and gifts for Angel on the Tree, donate money to the PD. Officers on duty raise their own funds to deliver gifts and bikes to multiple homes throughout the area in low-income areas. Officers took part in Operation Keep DUIs. And another set of officers who were working on Christmas decided to get their own money together and help out a couple special families and gave them bikes and presents and really contributed to their Christmas. That's all I've got.
Well, first of all, to you and your officers, you guys are doing a great job, and we really appreciate you. And you know, the fact that you guys go above and beyond to help others celebrate these various holidays that don't have the means to do that, it says volumes about the character of your team. And so I thank you for that. But with that said, I'll turn it over. Does the council have any questions for the chief? Again, thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief, before you step away, can you speak to the car break-ins?
Yes, we had a rash of car burglaries in the city, I think a total of 14. 3 firearms were stolen throughout the, most of them unlocked vehicles. So everybody locked vehicles. And yesterday, we concluded an investigation, and through some hard work of officers, they came together and were able to make an arrest and recover all 3 firearms that were stolen. The responsible gentleman was put in jail today. Firearms returned, property was returned. And there's a few more ends that we need to wrap up, but that problem should cease.
Hey, Chief, were those cars targeted because the firearms were visible?
No, I think he was just pulling on door handles, and they just happened to be in there.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. All right, Chief Mayville.
How was your Chick-fil-A, Tommy? Good. We were in line together.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Bring you up to date with the activities of the fire department for the month of December. We had 171 calls, and 2 of those were overdose or poison calls. And we responded to businesses with our inspections. We had 48 passes, 16 fails, and there were minor violations, so we'll be revisiting those businesses. During the last year, we inspected 438 businesses in the city of Niceville. We continue to do our CPR and defibrillation outreach to businesses, schools, our nursing programs, and local doctors and scouts. Crews and members were participating in so many PR events during the month of December. We had Santa Claus for the whole month. I think we took him everywhere in town. But we had him in the parade. So the crews had him on top of the truck. And then we very proud of our high school. We stay very busy sending them off to numerous, I mean, it never ends. Football, track, just name it, they're there. So we continuously support our youth coming up, and prime example of why we do it. They're going to be leading our community for too long. So I want to kudos to my assistant chief, Chief Webster. He continues to teach leadership and different classes for the officer series classes for our firefighters and things that are going on within our community and other departments that would like to come over and get those classes. Administration, and we were doing a lot of off-duty stuff, PR around the community. Also, we had over at we put on luncheon, city did for Mr. Doucette, so he's retired. So that was very nice, and I would like to thank you for recognizing long employee like that. Very nice, very nice. And we currently are taking all of our education, continuing with the college and leadership classes and different certifications. We still have the one in school right now going to paramedic school, Jordan. She's in paramedic school at the college up here. So we're continuing to enhance that program where we can start our ALS program soon for our community and enhance that for our response. Get on scene first, so we'll be able to do the drugs, clot busters, and things like that. So, anything from the council?
Go ahead, Mr. Schatzel.
Chief, we haven't asked this question for a couple months, but how's our new fire truck coming along down the production line?
Well, it's funny you speak of that. We just talked to them yesterday, and we'll be flying to Ohio to do pre-build on a 100-foot tower, and I think it's some first part of March. So after that, it'll take some time to engineer, design it. We take a team up there, and we sit in a room for about 4 days and design that truck that best fits the needs for the city of Niceville.
Any other questions?
As a follow-on to that, so in March you said, so you'll have the truck estimated delivery?
Well, the build on those trucks are pushed back because of all the COVID and everything that took place. So there's one company that actually does axles for 18-wheelers, and this is a dual axle truck, very heavy, and it's a 100-foot tower. So we had to get the axles, and so we have to wait our turn. They only get so many axles for each company, and so we're looking at maybe 3 years for that truck to be built and delivered.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Todd.
I just want to say, you had one of your inspectors come out to the church and work with one of my men, and then I just happened in at the time they were finishing up. I just want to say it was thorough, professional, and certain, like a walkway to a hot water heater that, was blocked. He mentioned that, so I was up there with 2 of our ladies decorating. I said, hey, this has got to be cleared out, and they cleared it out, and it's just good to be in a city where you got professional people. So just kudos to your people.
Thank you, sir. I'll pass that along.
Any other questions?
One last thing that we got all kind of, hey, what's up with the plane? The plane that had crashed, the fuel tank that got dropped off, that is a national security issue. We went and rendered aid, mutual aid, automatic aid, for Eglin, and quickly turned that over to the Eglin Fire Department, and there wasn't really anything to it. It was just an environmental issue pertaining, there was a creek close, there was no injuries, no damage to any property. So I want to make sure everyone's well aware of that. We have very good relationships with Eglin, and Eglin was right on it. We have direct contact with Eglin Air Force Base when something happens. So your
well-being is very much appreciated. Thank you.
Well, we do appreciate both your department and our police department, because I know they responded. They all did a great job in mutual aid and support. And again, we were very fortunate that that drop tank didn't land on a house or a person or any other stuff. And so in many ways, we're blessed. But like I said, thank you for all you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
Grand Poobah Laird.
Say it loud and proud, my friend, loud and proud.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Dyke. Suez, our tank maintenance company, has completed maintenance on tanks 1 and 5. Transfer switch and generator are here for lift station 30. We'll be replacing that at the plant, hopefully in the next couple of months. We're also going to be replacing the generator at lift station 55 on Ruckle Drive in the next 2 weeks. The materials are in for the reuse pipeline. We're working with the county and Gator Boring to hopefully get the borings done and start that project. Been a long time coming, so that's good news. They have started the clean out of the reuse pond. They've already finished 2 fingers, and it's looking to be done within hopefully 3 weeks to a month. So we'll clean out the pond, peroxide it, fill it back up, unidirectional flush, and hopefully the end users can have it back. So they started Monday and it's going really well. We had our kickoff meeting with Badger Meters. That went really well. Hopefully we'll get the contract back and signed next couple of months, start that project, get them in here, get supplies in here to start changing out these meters and registers. It's been a nightmare, and hopefully we can get that done. We resubmitted our request for additional information to the Water Management District for a consumptive use water permit. We've been approved for another 100,000 gallons, so we can now be pumping 3.1 million a day, up to 3.1 million a day. Once we get that letter mod back, we will resubmit for another 100,000 gallons to raise our consumptive use permit, our daily pumping to 3.2 million. Had 58 water calls, 66 sewer calls, made 6 water taps, 8 sewer taps, 597 line spots, changed out 16 meters, and completed 267 service orders. We completed a stormwater repair on Magnolia Shores, added some grates and 12-inch pipe for a drainage issue. We're still waiting on pricing for a drainage issue at the intersection of Ronda Drive and Juniper Avenue. Working with Michelle, we're addressing the drainage issue at 1408 Bayshore Drive. We have a drainage pipe to move on Palm Boulevard about a little over 200 feet for the new multi-use trail. That'll be coming. We'll be installing a sidewalk on Bailey Drive from Highway 20 to 27th Street to make that loop and all safety around Flew Elementary School. Kids can get to school. Each will have sidewalk all around the school end. 2 years ago, we went from 27th to 23rd. This would be great from 20th to 27th Street, so we're putting that in. We got the bid documents back for Hill Lane. James Walters is reviewing. We're going to have an on-site meeting with bidders, and hopefully in 30 days, y'all will give us the go-ahead to start that Hill Lane Road extension, so that's moving along great. Got the task order yesterday for the new multi-use trail on Palm Boulevard, so we'll be reviewing that tomorrow, hopefully get it back over to our engineers, and that will go from Bayshore Drive all the way up to 27th Street. 10-foot wide asphalt multi-use trail, so that's going to be really good, exciting coming to the city. And Michelle's working hard on a grant to go from 27th all the way to college, so that's great. Also been working with Michelle, dealing with the county, and having several meetings for the Miracle League ball field at Meigs Park. It's moving along really well. Had a really good 2-hour meeting a couple weeks ago before Christmas with all the county and all the engineers involved. Thought it was really positive. So we're striving to get that going. Like Mr. Dyke said, the Okaloosa County is going to be installing, hopefully starting in March 1st, the walk trail from College Boulevard all the way down to Forest Road, Forest to Rocky Bayou Drive, and then hopefully next year hopefully, the city will take it from Rocky Bayou Drive from Forest down Rocky Bayou Drive and tie it into Crossings Boulevard there by Publix, so you have a whole loop. The mini storage at the skate park is complete. We're just waiting on the roll-up doors to install. We're getting we're hopefully still in the deal on getting the roof repaired, or getting the roof redone at the senior center. I had a meeting with Live Oak Fiber yesterday, and hopefully they're out of Dodge in April. So, no more Live Oak. Code compliance, they've been really doing a good job. They started July of 24. They had 200 cases, and they've closed out 184 of them. Only 16 open cases left from July of 24 till January today, so they're really doing a good job. Turkey Creek Park will be open on Monday, January the 20th, Martin Luther King. We will keep the park open, and it will be named. And last but not least, Colin Lowry and Ernie Howe, could you come forward, please? So, my favorite part of the evening, we'll start with Colin. Colin started with us 14 months ago. He works for the Streets and Stormwater Department. Does a really great job. He's my shining penny of the night. Really appreciate what you do for the city. I really appreciate what you do for me and our team at Public Works. Back in December, Colin was out at the Commons. I guess he was buying my Christmas gift or what, I don't know what he was doing. So, he walks out the parking lot, and a disturbed young man was in the parking lot and dropped his keys into a storm drain. Colin being who he is, you know, at Public Works, we really carry ourselves professional on and off the job. We strive for that. You know, being a great leader for this community wherever you're at. So Colin opens the storm drain, jumps down there, grabs the guy's keys, and saves the day. So, if you guys trying to do
I'm not sure. I just think he likes diving into holes and tunnels. I don't know what it is about this guy.
And Ernie Howe. So I want to come in early on something. Today we had, like I told y'all last month, you know, we've had a lot of dangerous stuff in the sewer that we don't know what it is and making people sick, and it's a really bad situation. Today we had a really bad situation. We had a water leak down on the south end of town on Bay Shore Drive, and it really turned bad. One of my teammates got in the hole and fixed the leak. The bank caves in, the water's spewing, he gets stuck in the mud. But with Ernie's 35 years experience and knowledge and not panicking, saved his life, and I want to thank him.
There's a lot of people involved too. I mean, we worked as a team, but it was a hairy situation, but, you know, it worked out well. I mean, it did. But I gotta thank JW, I thank Colt, I gotta thank all the team. I mean, it was hairy, but it worked out real well.
We got great people, and thank you so much for all that you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
Before you walk away, Jonathan, I'm going to see if anybody else has questions. I'm going to have one for you. You might need help with Kristen when I ask my question. Go ahead, Miss Sally, you have a question.
Two questions. Any update on the paint on the water tower on Cedar?
I'm waiting for you to send me your picture.
You didn't tell me I was supposed to send you a picture. Serious?
Yeah, we're checking in with Sue as in pricing.
Okay.
Okay,
And then, second thing is how long to finish the reclaim lines to Deer Mouse Creek?
I don't know the answer to that question, ma'am. Eglin and I have been going back and forth. We finally have jumped through the last hoop. And I got an email from them today. While we've jumped through the last hoop, some of the hoops we've already jumped through have expired, so we're now going to have to go in 811 and ASUS to do it again. Those are quick and easy, but we're within reach of getting our easement. And after that, the county's ready to go. Like Jonathan said, Gator Boring's ready to go. And so it's just a matter of putting dirt, shovels in the ground and then making this thing happen. I don't know how long the construction will take, though. We do have all the materials already delivered or on site. The only thing we're waiting on is that easement.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Shazzle.
Okay, for the citizens and the individuals within the audience, you heard tonight that our police department, our fire department, and our public works department have done an outstanding job Matter of fact, they've done an awesome job, and I want to just highlight another example that happened within the last 2 weeks for the Public Works Department. And this is that there was a water line break in front of my house, and after calling the police department, this was on a Sunday afternoon between Christmas and New Year's holiday, calling the police department relayed down to Public Works standby crew what the situation was, and within minutes, I would say less than 15 minutes, we had a Public Works individual out and looked at and assessed the situation, and he got another individual that returned, and they got the pipe fixed within a half an hour. And I'd like to recognize the two individuals. One of them was Joey Fields. I'm sorry, Joey Collins and Jimbo Fields. And they are just a prime example of two individuals from Public Works that do a consistently outstanding job every day. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Stoffer.
If you want to go last, I'll do mine. Now, mine's Valparaiso Boulevard. So do you recommend interacting with the county to try to get that sidewalk done? I mean, is there any pressure that can be put on them to come through?
I really think you need to get with Scott Bitterman, to get with Carissa Lejeune, and check with the Surtax committee. That's where all their money comes from, to install sidewalks or different things like that around the county. This is what's in the realm of the possible. We've done what we promised the counties 2 years ago we were gonna do.
Who was the other one? Scott Bitterman and Colin?
Her name's Carissa Lejeune, she's head of the Surtax committee.
And so I can reach out to them if you'd like. There's a county process, and it's all that money is budgeted just like, so I don't know that this money was budgeted in their account, but I can certainly find out, see where we're at.
And there are videos of kids going down the street on Valpy Boulevard. I mean, it's a terrible situation that's going to be potentially worse. So I just think we need to keep the pressure around.
I'll reach out to the team, the county team tomorrow and ask the question where we're at.
So mine is more of a comment followed with a small question. And again, it's okay if you invite Kristen to help you answer, but you mentioned that we just got approved for another 100,000 gallons to be pumped out of the aquifer. So that puts us at 3.1, and then we're going to turn around and request another 100,000 to try and go to 3.2. And the reason that we're doing that is because we are bumping up as a city against that allocation. Now, that's a daily allocation. We're bumping up against that. So what happens if we exceed that allocation?
So this year we finished at $3,084,000. So we got the letter modification for 100,000, so we still fell under. We're gonna get another 100,000, which will be 3.2. I don't really know per se what would happen. I don't know if there'd be fines or a letter or what would happen, but what it is a total year daily average that you're not allowed to exceed. So like if you pump 3 million one day and 40 million the next, you're still okay, because it's that total 12-month average.
So I'm gonna speculate in a sense. I know I've talked to.
We've never done it, so we don't really know.
Yeah. Well, I suspect what would happen, and Kristen, you can jump in here if you want, but if we exceed that habitually, then they're probably going to, the state's going to probably come down, and you mentioned they'd probably fine us, and or maybe both, restrict our water consumption, which means then we restrict the citizens. So instead of watering whenever you want, you might get to water once or twice a week maybe, if that much.
Right.
And so what is the significance of the reclaimed water with that said?
Well, that said, that's going to be huge for consumptive use permit. Once that's installed, we get everybody that's watering out off potable. That's going to save us tremendously and be great for the city.
Okay. So the key is
to
use that reclaimed water to take care of watering lawns and stuff like that instead of potable water, and that way everybody will then be guaranteed to have fresh water for drinking and bathing and so forth.
And as long as you can show you're taking strides in the right steps for water management this year, like the reuse line, some other things we've been talking about, our team down the road, I mean, they like to see those things being proactive.
Yep. Go ahead, Kristen.
I think it's worth mentioning that the city has wells that are located within a water resource caution area. And so that's what's really driving their limitation on our consumptive use, because the more we pump from those areas, the more prone we are to saltwater intrusion and what's called upconing under those wells. And so that is why they would shift us to water conservation if we were to start exceeding those permit allocations. We've got some wells, 2 wells that we're experiencing some minor chemical change, nothing big, but it shows this saltwater intrusion issue is real for our southern wells. And so it's real important that we conserve that water and we don't further exacerbate that problem with the saltwater intrusion in the water resource caution area. So we're under sort of a different regulatory umbrella than other places because of that caution area application in our region.
Gotcha.
And council, this is why I am submitting a $2 million legislative request this year to the state legislature so that we can move one of those southern wells that Kristen just referenced as far north as possible within the city limits of Niceville. One of our 2, again, legislative requests this year is going to be for $2 million for a brand new well, so we can shut the well down that's on Johnson's Highway, right in front of was it AutoZone or O'Reilly's or whatever it is, and then move it further north.
And then again, this is another reason why we're working hard for these reuse lines so that we can get more people onto reuse so we can conserve our potable water.
For sure. Absolutely.
So, thank you. Any other questions? Appreciate it, John.
Thank you.
Do we have a building report?
It's in the package. Sir.
Okay, good deal.
I have nothing further.
Gotcha. City Council, under new business, does anybody have anything they want to bring before City Council at this point in time? New business-wise.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The city manager, in your update today, you didn't talk about the cameras. Can you give us an update on the speed cameras?
Sure. The school zone speed cameras, the one on Palm, is up and operational. It isn't on, but it's fully installed. And the one on Parton, right next to Ruckle, they are finishing the installation this week, hopefully, and then and that'll be powered up. Again, it won't be on, but it will be fully operational, hopefully this week or next. The intent is for this system to go live on February 3rd. Once it goes live, there will be a 60-day PR campaign and warning period. So the civil citations will be issued during that 60-day window, but they are just warning citations. They are not actually fines or civil citations. Once that 60-day period is over, then it will be, the system will issue by mail, snail mail, civil citations of $100. If someone is traveling 11 miles an hour or more during a school zone during the flashing times. The flashing times, you'll see them on Palm currently, and you will see them on Parton if they're not already there. There are signs in the morning, flashing lights all down the road in both directions, so that drivers will have full notice they're about to enter into a school zone. The other thing I would note, the state law does allow us to have these cameras on and issuing citations from the half an hour before school starts in the morning through the school day, and then to half an hour after the school day ends. As we start out on this process, I have decided unilaterally perhaps, but that that the cameras will only work during the flashing times before and after school. They're not going to run all day long as we ease into this program. And so it'll be 30 minutes before breakfast at Ruckle in the high school to 30 minutes after school starts, and then again 30 minutes before school ends to 30 minutes after school ends. Will be the flashing times and the times that these cameras on Palm and Parton will be operational.
Thank you.
Did you have another question? Anybody else have a question or any item you want to bring up? All right, we'll come back and we'll give you a chance to speak in a little while before we open up the public forum. There's going to be a memorandum of support that will be a letter that I will sign out to our citizens referencing, as you heard earlier from our Public Works Director, Jonathan Laird, that as they begin to build the multi-use trail project coming from Bayshore up to 27th Street, there's obviously the right-of-way that belongs to the city. You can call it easement, call it right-of-way, but it belongs to the city, and some people will be impacted by this because they believe that that's part of their property, which it is not. So to inform people that there's going to be work starting and what's going to happen, I am going to sign out a letter that will let them know in advance that this is going to happen. And if they have issues and stuff, they certainly can contact me, they can contact the city manager, they can contact the Public Works Director, the Assistant City Manager, etc. So again, that's just a heads up that we think will help to alleviate a lot of concerns, that they know that it's happening and why it's happening. So again, I will be signing out a letter to all those that would be impacted. Any questions or comments from the council on that? All right. Resolution 250101. You want to read that, Wendy?
A resolution of the City of Niceville, Florida, establishing rates for the collection of residential and commercial garbage and recycling, providing for a rate increase and providing for an effective date.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second by Mr. Schatzle, is that correct? Oh, you didn't? Oh, Mr. Najumian.
I'll take the second.
He was the second, all right. Discussion by the council, but do we have anything that we want to address on that before we start asking questions? Looks like we got a sidewalk going over there real quick. Kristen, are you going to speak to this or what?
With regards to the waste management, sir?
Yes.
No, this is just the annual increase, cost CPI increase that is part of our contract with Waste Management, sir.
Questions, comments by the council? Would anybody in the audience like to address the council on this issue? Seeing Mr. Stopper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzle?
Yes.
Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right.
Could we just make a comment of how much it's going to go up, because it's not going up that much?
You have that,
It's a 5.02% increase, ma'am, so it's a tiny increase across the board.
I just wanted the general public to be aware of that.
From 22 cents to 36 cents, I think is
Yeah.
the variable rate.
all right.
Mayor, before we move on, we need to circle back. The letter you just referenced was a letter that we need for the grant package for the multi-use trail up Palm.
Okay.
And so that's...
That letter, but addition, we talked about this, we're going to do a letter to all those citizens impacted as well, correct?
This is actually a different trail segment.
Okay.
This is for a transportation alternatives grant that's due on the 17th, or
Okay.
else I would just forget
All
about
right.
it. Yeah,
So let me just again make sure the citizens know that they're still going to get a letter from me referencing this upgrade for the multi-use trail, but this is a different letter in order for us to get more grants to move further up Palm.
Exactly, and I will
Okay.
have to turn these
All right.
minutes into the grant agency, so I need for you to vote actually to support this
Okay.
project.
Well, we can do that. So first of all, do I have a motion by the council to have me sign out a letter of support referencing the Palm Boulevard multi-use trail and seeking a grant?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion by the council?
Does he need to reference it's the new one, the north section of it? This is not the one we're doing right now, correct?
Correct. It's the northern portion.
Yeah.
It says Palm Boulevard North, so, yep. Any other discussion or questions? Anybody in the audience want to come before the council on this issue? All right, Mr. Najumian, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
And Mr. Soffer?
Yes.
All right, I'll sign that letter out.
Thank you.
I'll also sign out those other letters.
Yes.
All right, now that we got that cleared up, let's see, I guess we are at the point where we need to request authorization for us to enter into a contract with Badger.
Yes, sir. And council, as you are well aware, over the past 12 to 18 months, we've been working with Johnson Controls and stuff, and so we finalized that contract many months ago with Johnson Controls, and we've been working with Badger, who is our current vendor and has been the vendor for our water distribution system here in the city of Niceville for years and years and years and years. And what I am proposing and requesting is the authority to enter into a contract with Badger. I know it says 1.7. I think the bill is actually a little under 1.9, and I'll explain why here in a minute. But this project is to upgrade our water meters and our AMI system so that they're all cellular. We've got a hodgepodge of cellular and radio frequency AMI systems in our water meter system right now. And every month it causes the utility billing department and Jonathan's team a massive amount of work that they just got to basically shut down shop and just go out and hand reread meters every single month. And it's creeping back up to the tune of 800, 900 rereads a month. So this is, it's not efficient, and it's causing a lot of work stoppages. The other piece is that a lot of our meters in the ground have been there long past their life cycle. And so I am recommending that we change out, and I think that I sent you all the proposed contract earlier. We're going to be changing out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meters, or not we, but the contractor will, as well as these AMI systems. Along with this, the reason why there's a disparity in the dollar amount, the total contract dollar amount from what is written here, is the vendor came back to us, Badger came back to us and said, hey, we'd like to take another run at doing your copper to lead survey, which is required by the state. They had originally quoted us a price of $45 per meter. They reduced that to $40 a meter, not to exceed 5,000 meters. Because we have to, was it meters older than 1989? Our houses built prior to 1989 are the only ones that the state is now requiring us to ensure that there's not a copper lead connection. And so we have to get that done. We, like every other municipality in the state of Florida, are probably past our deadline, or we're getting very, very close. And the state has already started to fine municipalities for not completing this requirement, this copper and lead survey requirement, and getting that fixed. We've been able to fend them off because we've shown good faith that we've been working diligently on this project. We weren't able to meet the deadline. Again, no one was. But we showed good faith that we're working hard to get it done. This will get us across the finish line. And I think for $200,000, it'll save Jonathan and his team a tremendous amount of work. But again, at the same time, we're changing out the meters. We're changing Jonathan and we ordered as part of this contract a lot of big meters, but Jonathan and his team will replace all those themselves to save us the labor costs, and then this company will come in and do the small meters, 1 inch and smaller. This will help ensure we are accurately capturing all the water that is going into businesses and houses, and will shore up some our revenue, and most importantly, ensure that we have a solid, modern system for the future. And so again, my request is granting me approval to enter into this contract not to exceed $1.9 million. All right. And let me follow up the last piece of this. If the council approves my request, I will be coming back with a discussion on payment, on how we're gonna do that. We budgeted for this project in the fiscal year '25 budget, but due to a miscommunication between myself and the former finance director, we did not budget enough. We have the money in our reserves, which is what our water and sewer reserves, which is what I had planned to use as we were navigating the budget process. The other option is we can finance this, budget it for fiscal year '26, and no harm, no foul. So, but we'll deal with that next month.
Go ahead.
How much did we budget for this project?
250,000, and what I didn't apparently tell Steve was 250,000 per month. That last piece is key.
David, what's the new ROI based on this 1.9 mil versus what would have been the ROI of about 12 years based on the original proposal?
Sir Badger didn't do any analysis like that. Now, the meters they recommend to us were based on consumption and age, and over the life cycle.
Well, we should have still been able to use that study because the idea was the meters would give us better readings of actual consumption, which would yield additional revenue for the city, and then the lack of call-outs that are required for public works had a value as well. So we should have been able to factor in ROI even without Badger doing it.
I don't have those numbers. I can certainly get them to you, sir. But I think as you correctly identified when we were talking to the previous company, the rollouts, we don't necessarily save money because those guys are just rolling out to do something else.
No, you're correct, and we gave that back to them going, well, only if we lose personnel do we actually then save payroll, or we don't have to hire future positions. So there's still a way to calculate that.
And I can get you some numbers.
For sure the consumption, though, should be improved, being able to read actual consumption numbers with these new meters.
For sure.
And whatever it is, I believe their bill is going to be $5 or $6 million to get the 10-year, 12-year ROI. So ROI's got to be closer to 2 or 3 years.
Yes, sir. Johnson Controls bill, was in the $6 million range, and it was more than a decade before we saw any savings. And so, at 1.9, assuming the same stuff, it's like you said, 2 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions by council? So again, the request is for the council to authorize the city manager into a contract for $1.9 million. With that said, I believe it would be appropriate. I don't know, do we need a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion to approve $1.9 million for the city manager in the contract with Badger?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
So my question is that, do we need to put in the motion of where we're going to get the money, whether we're taking it out of reserves or anything like that?
No, ma'am. I'll come back to you next month with that.
Okay.
With that said, Mr. Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumian?
Yes.
All right, I guess the next item on the agenda is aid to organizations.
Yes, sir. So, every year the city puts money aside to provide financial assistance to the nonprofits that support us here in the city. This year, the city council, in the fiscal year '25 budget, you allotted total $59,800, but $32,791.23 of that is set aside for the Niceville Housing Authority. That leaves $27,000 that you can spread across, roughly 10 nonprofit organizations that came before you during the budget workshop. The total ask at that time was $34,300, but because we've taken Bridgeway Center out because they are getting our opioid money, that total ask is $31,300, and you got $27,000 in the budget to spread across those remaining nonprofits. You'll see there in the exhibit my proposal, my recommendation to you, but I will execute the will of the council.
All right, council, I know you're looking at it in your books there and so forth. You see the proposal to spend the $27,000. I will, first of all, open it up for discussion in terms of any adjustments.
Let's make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommended spreadsheet to the aids to organization for a total of $27,000,
Second.
As listed by the city manager.
as listed by the city manager.
And we have a second by Mr. Stopford. All right, discussion by the council? Nothing? Nothing? Everybody good? All right. Mr. Stopford, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumi?
Yes.
So there you have it.
Done, we'll make it happen. Thank you, council.
City manager, Mr. Deitch, you have something that you want to bring up right now?
I do. So recently, the issue of fluoride in our drinking water system has come to our attention. We did, Jonathan and his team did the research, and the city of Niceville has historically put fluoride in the drinking water, but we are the only only governmental entity in Okaloosa County who does, because we all draw our water from the Floridian aquifer, and fluoride is a naturally occurring substance, and so the fluoride levels from the naturally occurring process put enough fluoride in the system that it's below the state standards. And so we are well below state standards and state requirements as it is, even though we put fluoride in the water, but we were well below. It is our recommendation to you, my recommendation to you, that the need to do that no longer exists. And so my recommendation to you is that we cease that practice of putting fluoride in our drinking water.
Council, you hear the recommendation coming from the city manager after the public works and engineering firms did the study on the water content and so forth. Do I have a motion that the city cease fluoridating our potable water?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I wrote one out. Based on the recommendation of the city manager, I move the city of Niceville discontinues the practice of adding fluoride to the municipal water supply, effective as soon as practically feasible.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second. Discussion by the council. All right. Anybody in the audience want to address the council on this issue? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Rick Fry, 5413 Jenny Circle, Pace, Florida. For the record, I only sent one email. I am connected to activists around the country and around the state who care about this issue. The only reason I ever got involved in it was because I waited for months for my leaders in Northwest Florida to address what the Surgeon General said and what the federal court found about it lowering the IQ of children. It is true that you do put it, but it's hexafluorosilicic acid, which is a hard thing to pronounce. I had to work on that. Do you know how that's collected? They have smokestacks in the phosphate industries, and they put filters up there to catch the fluorine gases so they don't poison the environment. That's what they're putting in your water. That's not naturally occurring fluoride. That's a different substance. And you can look these things up. I'm not making this up. The EPA found it was a neurotoxin. Fluoresces, the more the children are exposed to fluoride, the lower their IQ gets. And this has been studied by the EPA. There's an Iowa study you can go look at. All of my group's position is that there should be an open debate about it, but I love that you wrote an email back and you made this recommendation. I think it's fantastic. I've dealt with local government before, and I haven't seen this, and I'm really happy that you're immediately addressing this. It makes me feel really good inside. You've restored a little bit of my faith in local government, because I've battled with Pensacola City Council before, and it's been very difficult. And this was an amazing process. It went very fast. Thank you very much for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us.
That's why we're Niceville. Nice.
Anybody else want to come before the council? Please, and even though you've done it already, please state your name and address for the record.
Just use the microphone, sir.
Gotcha, sorry about that. Larry Downs Jr., 12156 Hadberg Drive, Pensacola, Florida. And I too am happy that y'all are removing this. We're working on it in our county. We've got a few board members who have been really conditioned. They've been conditioned by the follow the science people. And and I'm glad to see that y'all are moving forward with this because it is a toxin. It's a poison. I mean, I don't know how we've been conditioned for a couple of generations now that to put toxins into our food, into our water, into our little children by way of needles is a good idea. It's just not a good idea. And somehow or another, your generation, y'all are probably close to my age. I'm 55 years old. Y'all might be a little bit older by 5 or 10, but have been conditioned to believe in the Fauci science, the Peter Daszak Eco Health Alliance, Ralph Barrett, Chapel Hill. I mean, these CDC, the World Health Organization, they don't have our best interest in mind. They have an agenda. Lots of times, that agenda causes harm, to our children, who will become adults and they'll be in the same positions. And one day, with COVID, they might say, oh, those COVID vaccines saved millions of lives, just like y'all say now with polio. Same way with the fluoride. So anyways, I'm just using this opportunity to get kicked off for the public forum. Thank you.
Anybody else want to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Oh, wait a minute. We had a hand come up.
I just have a question.
Got to come up into the mic and you got to state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good evening. My name is Carla Pavada and I live at 300 21st Street. And my question was, is there an idea of when a feasible time would be? Is it like a year or 5 years?
Oh,
or
no.
3 months?
No. We turn we turn the machines off and we're done.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. If they approve it, we'll turn the machines off tomorrow.
Also, I appreciate you guys bringing this back up and taking it so serious so quickly. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else that wants to come before the council on this issue? Seeing none. Mr. Stoffer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Miss Alley?
Yes.
Mr. Schatzel?
Yes.
And Mr. Najumi?
Yes.
All righty. I just want to let the council know that because we have 2 outstanding individuals that are going to be rolling off and 2 outstanding individuals will be coming on, I will be adjusting the additional duty roster. And I will put that together over the next week or 2. I will get that out to the sustaining members, as well as those that are still on the council, just for your inputs. And I will also include the new council members that will be coming on so that we get a good feel for who's got what talents and how they can best use those. So be prepared to have that. With that said, Mr. Najumi, do you have anything that you want to share with us at this point in time?
Nothing tonight. Thanks.
How about you, Mr. Schatzel?
I just want to say Happy New Year to all our citizens and the individuals here especially, and taking the time to come here tonight. There are faces here that we don't see on a normal monthly basis, so thank you for doing that. And I do appreciate every department within our city and the work that they do. You have a good team, Mr. Gates. Keep it up.
Miss Alley?
I'm just happy to see a new year, 2025. Thank you.
And Mr. Stoffer, do you have anything?
Yeah, I want to say congratulations to the new 2 new council members that were voted in, and congratulations to the mayor who got reelected.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it.
All right, so I'm about to open it up, open forum for citizens to come forward and share with the council, but let me give you the ground rules. Okay, first of all, you get 3 minutes. This is the official timekeeper. I watch it closely, and I will cut you off at 3 minutes. Now, with that said, please make your point quickly and we'll move forward. The other thing is the council and myself are in a receive mode, and you're talking to the council and myself. You're not talking to the city staff, you're talking to us. So we're in the receive mode, and with that said, I will now open it up for anybody that wants to come before the council. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. I will get everybody, trust me.
Can I get my computer?
Yes, you may. Grab your computer.
Yes, sir.
We could make you stay longer, but you know, Mr. Hernandez, you've done such a great job for so many years. We want to get you out of here because you got to teach tomorrow, don't you? Will anybody be distracted while he's pulling out the computer while listening to this woman? All right. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carolyn Musa. My address is 211 2nd Street. Dear City of Niceville, City Council members, and fellow residents, I'm here to address the recent termination of the City of Niceville Animal Control contract with PAWS. This is an issue of significant importance, and just for the city and its residents, but for the animals that rely on us for their care and protection. First, I want to emphasize that this is about creating a better solution for our community. Niceville has always been a city that cares about its animals, and historically, we have managed our own animal control services here with a local kennel inside Niceville with its own animal control officer. While resources and systems have evolved over time, this history shows that Niceville has the capability to create the program that meets our unique needs. With the right planning, we can ensure no animal is left without care and no resident is left without support. To fully understand the situation, I believe transparency is essential. After reviewing PAWS' most recent form, which is 41 pages, which has detailed their financial operations, it is clear that PAWS serves multiple jurisdictions. To address their roles in Niceville, I respectfully request the following information. How many calls for animal control services came specifically from Niceville last year? How many animals brought into PAWS care were from Niceville, and how does this compare to other areas? 3, how many animals were euthanized, and what were their primary reasons? Was it medical necessary, behavior issues, or capacity constraints? 4, of the per capita funding Niceville contributed, how much directly benefits services within our city? These questions are not about raising or assigning the blame to anyone, but to ensure transparency. As taxpayers, we deserve to know whether Niceville's contributions were proportionate to the services we received, and whether the city decisions to terminate the contract was made within complete understanding of all situation. Let me also address a current common concern. What happens to an animal control in Niceville now? When some may worry about PAWS animals are being left behind and without care, I share that concern also, but which is why I believe it is critical for the city to act quickly to develop a humane and sustainable alternative. Whether throughout reestablishing local animal control services with PAWS and other partnering organizations, or Niceville can and should create a system that is directly benefiting our own community. To put this into perspective, in Niceville, I know if I need a law enforcement officer, I can call the City of Niceville. But if the City of Niceville is not able to respond, or they don't do their job completely, I can call Lewis County. So with the Sheriff Department would then become involved, shouldn't the same principle apply to the animal control? If PAWS has a contract with Okaloosa County, which they do, and Niceville is part of the county, it raises an important question. Why should PAWS refuse to provide services just because the city canceled theirs? Are Niceville animals excluded from the county services despite the fact that residents in the county also contribute to the county funding? The question deserves clarification. And in closing, I want to stress that my goal is to advocate for practical solutions that serve both the animal and the residents of Niceville. This is not just about contracts. It is about ensuring that every animal has access to care and that every resident has the confidence in the system that we rely on. I hope the City Council and PAWS will work together to provide the answers and transparency that we need to move forward. I yield my time.
Thank you, and that is your 3 minutes. And let me just make a quick comment. Some of the questions you asked, there is a process in which you can get that official request into our city administrative offices, and they will get you an answer. So
Yeah, I call and waiting for a call back to find out if, who I have to go through.
So,
ma'am, who did you call?
I actually called first utilities, and sent me over to the mayor's secretary. And the mayor's secretary said she would get back with me.
Oh, okay.
yeah. But we'll get you an answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would somebody else like to come before the council on any issue? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record again. And remember, I'm going to cut you off for 3 minutes, so you know what you got to do. He's a professional.
I like this stack of paper.
All right, here we go. I got y'all ready. This is gonna be the most amount of education y'all had on vaccine safety data insert sheets. Larry Downs Jr., 12156 Hadberg Drive, Pensacola, Florida. All right, first off, I'd like y'all to see the real Anthony Fauci, Robert Kennedy Jr. I call him the real rat. We've got Dissolving Illusions. This is a good book. The illusions that we've been told. Commodity. Here's the box of Commodity, which is the Pfizer COVID shot. We got the polio, the old saved millions of lives polio, which was bull. It had simian virus 40 in it and a bunch of other stuff, known to affect the oncogenes causing cancer. Prior to the mass polio vaccine put out, we didn't have cancer treatments all over the country. They knew it was coming. This is the, after the PrEP Act was extended about a month ago, 2 months ago, now intentionally blank. That's the Spikevax by Moderna. Each one of these, 13.1 is copy-paste, safety data insert sheets for each one of the vaccines. 13.1, carcinogenous, mutagenous, impairment of fertility. Gardasil 9 has not been evaluated for the potential to cause carcinogenicity, genotoxicity, or impairment of male fertility. Gardasil 9 administered to female rats had no effects on fertility. Of course they studied rats. Same one, 13 point, this is a different one, Flucelvax, 13.1. Flucelvax quadrivalent has not been evaluated for carcinogenic, mutagenic, or impairment of male fertility in animals. Didn't even bother to do that one. 13.1, I mean, these are just amazing, each one of them. Tetanus. Tetanus is an acute disease caused by an extremely potent neurotoxin produced by blah, blah, blah. Then it says right here, carcinogenous, mutagenous, impairment of fertility. Tenovax has not been evaluated for carcinogenic or mutagenic potential or impairment of male fertility in animals. Now, do y'all wonder why? Do you wonder why Trump and Harris was in the debate going, I'm going to give free IVF treatment? No, I'm going to give free IVF treatment. Shouldn't the question be, why do we need this IVF treatment? It just goes on and on. Carcinogenic, mutagenic, impairment of fertility. Boostrax, another, has not been evaluated for carcinogenic, mutagenic, impairment of fertility. Goes on and on. I'm at 259. Oh, y'all have no clue. Same thing with the COVID shots.
I appreciate you trying to make us, the citizens, etc., aware, and again, appreciate you driving over from Pensacola to do that.
Absolutely.
All right.
And this is their data.
Take care. Have a blessed day.
You too. Stop rejecting your children.
Would anybody else like to come before the council on any issue? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
I'll send y'all an email with some more stuff.
Good Mayor, Council, City. Hopefully we'll start the clock on yet, because I want to start by thanking our council and our public service. I've been a Niceville here about a decade now, and it is the favorite place I've been in my entire life, so I appreciate everybody's hard work, and I'm too looking forward to another fantastic 2025. I hope what I'm about to reveal is mistaken, but I only heard it in passing on the radio, so there's a 0% chance I got 7% right. But if what I heard is remotely true, we have some serious work to do ahead of us. What really attracts me in Niceville is the small town charm and how easy it is to get around and how well managed the city is. And the easiest way to turn a great town into a lousy town is to mismanage the traffic. And what I heard on the radio was that there's been an agreement with the Eglin Air Force Base to transfer some of the land between Bypass and College Boulevard and use it for what was said, low-income housing. So before we build one more house in Niceville, we have to rethink about our ability to estimate the impact on traffic. I suspect we've grossly underestimated the impact of the new Mossy Creek area, because the traffic coming in and out of the Rocky Body Drive now is unmanageable. 20's not getting any bigger. 85 is a disaster. We just saw a study of getting it out of Crestview is no good. So before we start adding thousands of houses to the north of our town that our infrastructure cannot handle, where are we going to get the water? We can't provide the water we have now. So if that's true, that we're thinking of putting housing in between College Boulevard and the Bypass, we need to rethink that seriously, because this town is a fantastically run, beautiful city as it is. Adding thousands of houses is not going to do it.
Thank you. Would somebody else like to come before the council and address any issue? Yep. Oh, we do. We have a Boy Scout in the back?
Actually, up front.
Up front, hey.
Right there.
Please come up and state your name and address for the record and tell us what you're working on. Don't be bashful.
What's up? I got 3 more minutes, is that cool?
Just a minute. I got the scout coming
Oh,
first,
sorry,
then I'll grab you.
Okay.
My name is Sean Cupp. I live at 102 PW Aaron Court on Eglin Air Force Base, and I'm with Troop 157 in Niceville. We meet right across the street on the library. I'm currently working on my citizenship and community merit badge.
That's awesome. Do you ever need any time to speak to one of the elected officials, either myself or one of the council members?
Not for this moment.
Okay, all right. Well, whenever you need that, your schedule.
Good answer.
Just listen to it.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up and sharing.
Thank you.
You bet. Mr. Fry? Please, I know it's you've done it already, but state your name and address for the record.
Okay. Rick Fry, 5413 Jenny Circle, Pace, Florida. You like me to read it. The spike vax has not been evaluated for carcinogenic, mutagenic potential or impairment of male fertility in animals. A developmental toxicity study conducted in female rats that received the vaccine formulation containing nucleotides, modified messenger nucleotides, and mRNA, 100 mcg. That's a bunch of blah blah. So actually, the spike protein attacks the hippocampus. It causes a form of hippocampal neurogenesis. It actually, there's a book by Dr. Michael Nels. You can look at his work. He's shown that it actually causes a form of dementia. There's never been an mRNA vaccine injected into the human body. There's a 40% rise in all-cause mortality in 2021. We're just going to cover some of the vaccine stuff. There's only 1% of adverse reactions are reported to bears, and they're receiving record-breaker numbers. I don't know what else to say about it. There's plenty of stuff, but I just wanted to come in, back up Larry, he backs me up. But, you know, at this point it's been taken, but as they push bird flu propaganda, I would just say that one other thing would be that the PCR test was designed by a man named Kerry Mullis. He won the Nobel Prize for inventing that test, and he was very clear that it was not a diagnostic tool. The same test that they're using for bird flu is the same test that they use for the coronavirus, and according to them, the common cold vanished in 2020. So what they're telling you is that every other virus in the world vanished except for SARS-CoV-2, which is impossible for that to happen. What actually happened, and I have a video to prove it, that I predicted this on April 5th, 2020, that they changed the way they recorded cause of death on March 24, 2020, where you could assume COVID was the cause of death without proof. And that led to everyone saying that every single death had something to do with the coronavirus, when it really didn't. There were multiple comorbidities that led to these, and most of these people were elderly people. They were saying that gunshot victims died from the coronavirus, people that were kicked in the head from a horse died from the coronavirus. So I would just say, keep that in mind when they push this bird flu stuff. Have a good day.
Thank you again for the floor. That's fantastic.
Does anybody else want to come before the council on any issue? Okay, I see somebody moving. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hey,
Tammy Salisbury, 1104 Crankton Court, Niceville. Great meeting, wonderful, thanks everybody, good to see you again. In response to what these gentlemen are talking about, I did a lot of research when it came to vaccines through ndic.org. It's a National Vaccine Information Center. The lady that's established that had a son that was vaccine injured. She founded this organization, and she offers a lot of information. They're not anti-vax, they're pro-informed consent, pro-safety, pro-all that. There was a court case that was decided in February of 2011, I believe. It's called Brusewitz versus Wyatt. Supreme Court, it was a Supreme Court decision, and there's also something called the 1986 Act that indemnified the pharmaceutical industry from being sued for vaccination damage or injury. The only way the Brusewitz versus Wyatt case made it to the Supreme Court was because the Brusewitz family was able to prove neglect from the company that created the vaccine. They deployed the vaccine knowing what could happen. The decision handed down in this case, they were able to prove their case, and the decision that was handed down was, there were two dissents, was that vaccines are unavoidably unsafe and the pharmaceutical industry can no longer be sued. And when all this COVID stuff came out through the Emergency Use Authorization Act under the PrEP Act, no one was legally required to get that shot because there is no law at the federal level that says anybody has to get a vaccine. It's unconstitutional. There was a lot of failure to let parents know, and this is a safety thing. Emergency use authorization is only authorized, not licensed. So I think a point here is just take responsibility for your health care and do your research and make the decision based on your needs.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything they want to bring before the council? It looks like I got another person moving forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
Tracy Kinsley, 61724 Forest Bay Avenue. I am the Executive Director of PAWS, the Panhandle Animal Welfare Society. I am able to address some of the questions that have been brought to the forum. I unfortunately am not able to provide all of those answers in my 3-minute time constraint. However, I would like to address or have someone address me on the concerns and on the phone calls that we are receiving on what residents of the city of Niceville are supposed to do with concerns with the animals.
Again, ma'am, the rules here tonight are we're in the receive mode only.
Okay.
So if you have those particular questions you want to ask, I would suggest you contact our city manager or myself, and we'll discuss it offline.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we could just have an open forum at this time and answer some of the questions that have been raised.
No, go ahead and, like you said, contact either me or the city manager.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'd be happy to sit down and meet with you at your convenience.
I would love to, because we're getting multiple phone calls and people don't really know what to do, unfortunately.
And just for everybody in the audience, Mr. Najumi brings up a great point. If we need to have that type of discussion, we can make that an agenda item for our next meeting.
I would love that. Thank you.
Anybody else want to come before the council on this issue, or any issue, I mean? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
A second? And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Like sign? We're adjourned.
Very quick one, Doug.
I promise you'll have time.